Imagine this: a charismatic leader flying in a fleet of private planes from a majestic estate that may be confused for a royal palace, while a committed gathering cheers as he declares his riches are a divine favor. Undoubtedly, this scenario appears too fantastical to be real. Still, this is the reality many of the most well-known televangelists and pastors around the world endure. How can we reconcile these extravagant lifestyles with the fundamental principles they advocate in a world when belief is supposed to guide us to embrace humility, kindness, and decency? This film takes us through the world of megachurches, televangelism, and the prosperity gospel, an idea that holds financial prosperity not only as a possibility, but also as a heavenly promise given to those who believe. What ramifications does this have for the many Christians who give their limited means in search of divine favors in return? Are they straying off the road, or are they embracing a new perspective that combines earthly wealth with the core of the Spirit? This story explores the spheres of authority and sway, and the moral consequences of using loyalty for profit, therefore transcending simple belief. Come travel with us as we expose the reality behind these charismatic leaders and challenge the ideas that might shape our views of faith and wealth. The vision of perfect elegance is created as Kenneth Copeland approaches the tarmac by the warm golden ray of the evening sun, dancing against the gleaming surface of his private jet. Wearing a well-made suit, he smiles warmly and gently waves at the cameras, ready to start his trip. This is not any regular airplane. This is a spectacular Gulfstream V, a jewel worth millions, and one among a handful in his prestigious collection. For Copeland, flying is not just a luxury, it's a necessary component of life. Once he said, "You can't converse with the Almighty while traveling on a commercial flight." For him, his private jets represent a holy purpose, rather than only luxury. However, Copeland's wealth is far from extravagant. In a huge residence valued at more than $7 million, covering over 18,000 square feet, one discovers a splendid sanctuary, ornamented with breathtaking waterfront vistas and opulent furnishings. The land, kept under the care of his ministry, enjoys the blessing of tax exemption, a privilege accorded to those recognized as a religious organization. In close proximity, his boathouse and private airstrip provide a picture of a life that looks to stray away from the basic and deep principles imparted by Jesus. Yet, Copeland holds true in his belief, defending his immense wealth with steady assurance. He shares that the divine desire is for his people to flourish and thrive. His teachings underscore that wealth is not only a reflection of avarice, but rather a symbol of heavenly blessing. As your faith increases, so too do the blessings that come into your life. And what greater proof of that idea than the abundance of financial prosperity? But let us contemplate this. Is this truly the will of the Almighty? Copeland travels a road others have chosen. He is among many voices delivering a message that combines religion with the promise of abundance, a belief in which spiritual dedication is a road to material blessings. Offer to the Lord, and He will come back to you abundantly. The truth is clear. Contributing to the church, particularly its ministries, is essentially sowing a seed that will eventually yield benefits and abundance in your life. It is a tremendous comfort, especially for people experiencing financial difficulties. Imagine a situation whereby one is debt-ridden and longs for some hope. Turning on the television, they see a fervent sermon delivered by a preacher exuding fire before an enthralled throng that yells, "Plant your seed today, and behold how the Almighty will multiply it." Stories show us people giving their last $100, and in a wonderful turn of circumstances, discovering they were blessed with a promotion, a new automobile, or perhaps the house of their dreams. For Copeland, riches are evidence of faith itself, a supernatural validation of believing. Driven by the unwavering faith of people who embrace his message, his ministry accumulates enormous amounts, all untaxed. Many of them present their gifts with great faith, knowing that their own financial reward is just around the corner. But Copeland blossoms in plenty, while the devout assemble in expectation of their rewards. Among his various private jets is a Citation X, worth $20 million, one of the fastest private aircraft in use. When asked why he avoids commercial airplanes, his answer is pretty remarkable. You can't enter a long tube filled with a multitude of demons. Although this proclamation set off a whirlwind of controversy, it wonderfully shows the high pedestal he regards as his. For Copeland, his ostentatious lifestyle is a treasure to preserve rather than cause for remorse. He really thinks that the Almighty wants him to travel in leisure, to live free from financial obligations, and to have the means to spread his word all around. But is this about upholding a powerful and lavish kingdom, or is it really a question of delivering the good news? Some voices in the audience argue that people like Copeland have converted the holy into a business where faith is sold as money and hope is sold as a good. The very souls who assist this great empire find themselves in a state of longing and clinging to a hope for a promise that might not be fulfilled within all of this. Still, the question is this actual belief or just a masterfully spun mirage? The megachurch's great arrival opens wide and welcomes a multitude of eager souls with their excited and hopeful expressions. Look at the huge edifice, a massive construction evocative of a magnificent arena. Inside the walls, brilliant lighting highlights a great platform on which a mesmerizing speaker addresses a passionate group. He says with tremendous resonance, "The Lord wants to bless you today. Are you ready to welcome it?" And lo, the audience breaks into happy applause. In this world of large gatherings, when faith blends with wonder, the environment changes to become more in line with the intensity of a concert than with the seriousness of conventional prayer. Prominent pastors like Joel Osteen, Jesse Duplantis, and Kenneth Copeland, shepherds of congregations so large that their sermons travel the world, are leading these huge empires. Their influence touches millions of people across the screens of television, the expanse of social media, and the pages of beloved novels, far beyond the hallowed ground. And with influence, abundance follows. Think about Joel Osteen, a well-known player in modern Christian circles. One of the biggest congregations in the world, a dynamic community gathers at Lakewood Church in the center of Houston, Texas, a lighthouse of faith, welcoming over 50,000 individuals each week. Once home to exciting basketball games, the church's sanctuary now welcomes hundreds, covered with tall LED screens and creative stage designs that evoke wonder in a magnificent setting. Rich in vision of abundance and encouragement, Osteen's sermons enthrall millions of people all around. Still, Osteen lives in a gorgeous estate worth more than $10 million, with 6 bedrooms, several fireplaces, and a large pool, as he delivers lessons of faith and success. Declaring he gets no pay from the religion, he decides to accumulate fortune by selling best-selling books and attending speaking engagements. Some voices, meanwhile, express worries about his extravagant lifestyle, implying major moral conundrums. Should the Lord stroll among us as a lowly servant, then should his messengers live in enormous estates? Then there is Jesse Duplantis, a pastor spreading blessings and plenty. His ministry is known for its extravagant spending right in Louisiana. Duplantis attracted a lot of interest in the year of our Lord, 2018, when he asked his supporters for help, funding a $54 million private jet, an aircraft he claimed was absolutely necessary for the honorable task of evangelizing the world. He stood next to a model of the jet in a well-known film, saying to the audience, "If the Savior walked among us today, he wouldn't be riding a modest donkey." Is this effort really aimed at delivering the divine truth, or is it really meant to support a luxurious way of life? These shepherds of religion defend their plenty by saying that it is necessary for Christ's message to be shared to the most remote parts of the planet. They declare that their opulent aircraft, excellent clothing, and magnificent venues of worship are just tools for their heavenly purpose. They declare that their success is a mirror of divine favor, and that following their direction will help others also to experience the same prosperity. Still, beneath the beauty, a disturbing story plays out. In a world where their flocks frequently face adversity, some shepherds lead luxurious lives. At times, they extend their resources with open hearts, wishing for the great financial blessings these ministers declare. The shepherds of the flock find themselves blessed with plenty as the churches bloom and the gifts abound. Maintaining this structure depends critically on the outstanding show of the megachurch experience. The meetings are carefully designed to stir the heart. Strong melodies rise at the right times. Stories of heavenly grace are told, and the minister's sermons are greeted with enormous enthusiasm. It has weight and a tremendous alluring power. In that holy moment, touched by the heavenly hand, the faithful sense they are spun into a tapestry much more grand. But is this actual conviction, or only a show of expert performance? All of the beauty, the illumination, and the powerful emotions, all of which wonderfully emphasize the truth. The divine favors those who share abundantly. The journey then begins anew. Giving freely, devotees hang on to the belief that their moment of metamorphosis is just around. The shepherds thrive, their flocks grow, and the blessings keep coming forth. Still, for many devout people, the long-awaited breakthrough stays elusive. This thus begs a serious question. Is this really a matter of faith, or only business? Imagine yourself in a busy haven, heart pounding with high expectation. Standing before the assembled audience, the storyteller opens with a soft grin on his lips and speaks with unflinching clarity. "The Almighty wants for you to flourish," he says, his voice ringing over the great hall. "Your fate is not poverty. Endeavor is not your destiny. When you really trust Him, He will bestow upon you money benefits, above all you could ever dream of." The collected souls sprang forth in joyous clapping. Emotion-filled hearts lead many to nod in agreement, some to cry, as they cling fast to the hope that their triumphant moment is just around. For many souls, this is a lighthouse of hope rather than only a sermon. See the prosperity gospel, a lesson meant to attract many souls all around. It sends the message that the divine wants His people to feel abundance, wealth, and release from financial hardships. What is the key to exposing these gifts? Conviction. These messengers say that trust is often expressed by the act of giving, whether it is tithes, sowing, seed offerings, or making financial sacrifices, all with the assurance that the Almighty will return it 100-fold. For people who find themselves in the middle of financial difficulties especially, this is a powerful message. Do you have debt and find it taxing? Are you struggling to meet your rent obligations? Just trust. The divine will then release the many benefits from above. Offer to the Lord, and He will come back to you most abundantly. And when they talk of God, They are referring to the church, that very institution spreading this ideology. Rich clergy leading this movement really reflect the lessons they teach. All of Kenneth Copeland, Joel Osteen, Jesse Duplantis, and Creflo Dollar live in large homes, ride in luxurious cars, and fly in private jets. Their personal victories attest to the potency of the prosperity gospel. "Behold the beauties the Lord has created in my life," they say. He can also make your life quite wonderful. But consider this. If this is true, then why are just the ministers accumulating riches? For many people who believe, the prosperity gospel's lessons inspire empowerment. It turns belief into an exchange, offer to the divine, and blessings will come back to you. This is a comforting idea, especially in a society when the weight of financial obligations can seem unbearable. Those who feel helpless in their situation have found a road forward, a way to get back up and grab the plenty they treasure in their hearts. They thus present. Some offer what they can, compiling their modest contributions. Some individuals contribute substantial amounts, depleting their savings, in the belief that their contribution will result in a financial miracle. Stories from people who planted a seed and were blessed with an unexpected check in the mail, a job promotion, or a financial gift find their way to them. These stories inspire giving, strengthen our faith, and kindle hope in each of us. Still, for many people, the moment of realization stays distant. Time goes forward as the seasons change. The years open one after another as the sands of time slide across the hourglass. The tests of financial adversity remain, and yet many divert their attention within and burden themselves instead of trying to grasp the lessons. Maybe my gifts fell short. Maybe my belief lacked the depth required. Maybe I should sow more plentiful seeds now. As the story progresses, the wealth keeps flooding in to the ministers, not the devoted assembly. These famous shepherds share the same ageless message week after week, while living in luxury beyond understanding in the middle of all. Attired in elegant clothing, they walk to great platforms and radiate as they declare to their audience, "Your blessing is on its way." Hold firmly to your faith. Keep giving freely. But is this really what belief means? Alternatively, is it a painstakingly spun story, one that promises the impoverished redemption, but finally enriches just the voices that declare it? Before the assembled audience, the storyteller stands, and his voice swells with intensity. We need to cultivate trust in order to achieve a financial breakthrough. His comments ring true across the huge hall. Share liberally, you will get enough. You will be shaken together, pressed down, and spilled. The assembly erupts with joyful cheers and thunderous applause. While some people take the time to write checks for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, others rush toward the front and quickly place their donations into collecting baskets. Tears dripping in her eyes, a woman delicately sets her last few bills on the offering plate, a moving expression of faith and sacrifice. She whispers, "God, I trust you," on a soft breath. Often referred to as sowing seeds, this tradition holds that when you give your resources to God, through the church or a preacher, He will bless you monetarily in return. It provides the basis of a belief system that convinces followers that their worldly prosperity is closely related to their spiritual commitment. These words resonate deeply with those who are struggling. They seem like a promise, an assurance of divine investment from the Almighty, found in the holy books. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it. They thus present their gifts. Some people empty their money, clinging to the belief that their gift would call for a miraculous financial blessing. Some people decide to skip their rent, since they completely believe that their constant faith will produce blessings before the threatening eviction notice shows up. Parents forego their own meals in their unflinching faith, knowing that their sacrifices will bless their children via the grace of the church. In the midst of it all, the ministers discover they are becoming increasingly wealthy. Thanks to the kind tithes and donations of their devoted followers, Kenneth Copeland, Jesse Duplantis, and Creflo Dollar live in large mansions, worth in the tens of millions, ride in luxurious cars, and fly privately. We declare their wealth as evidence of heavenly blessing, a shining example of the plenty that all who follow their direction will find. And lo, innumerable among their adherents still find themselves in the middle of adversity. The expected financial innovations seem to stay just beyond grasp. Lo, the weight of credit card debt does mount up. The bills remain unpaid. Unfortunately, the anticipated improvement in status does not materialize, and many divert their attention inside and start blaming themselves instead of trying to grasp the system. Maybe I missed something in my presentations. Maybe my belief lacked the force it required. Maybe it is time for me to sow more plentiful seeds. This starts an unstable loop. One may find oneself driven to donate more in times of severe need. However, even this very act of kindness can sometimes result in even more financial hardships. Some people go so far as to borrow money to donate, convinced that their loyalty will produce a rich payoff. And lo, it seems that preachers themselves are the only ones to get money rewards. Some voices express worries that this system resembles a kind of spiritual manipulation, a painstakingly spun story meant to guarantee that riches keep flowing into the hands of eminent leaders. They bring little, yet talk of wonders. They use selected paragraphs to create a sense of immediacy, so convincing people that the degree of their generosity determines their financial fate. There are people who formerly followed the road of religion, giving their tales of kindness, having given thousands to their church, only to find themselves in a place of emptiness, struggling with disappointment and a profound doubt of their convictions. Under close inspection, it has become clear that although these ministries collect millions, only a small portion goes toward humanitarian projects. Instead, the riches fuel extravagant lifestyles, huge homes valued in millions of dollars, and extravagant spending. Still, the road opens out, always growing. Why would this be happening? It is the abundance message that ignites hope. It gives those who are struggling hope, a guarantee that their hardships will pass, that their trust will pay off, and that unanticipated blessings can really materialize. Hope is a strong force. At what point, then, does optimism become exploitation? Before they realize that the shepherds get rich while the flock suffers, how many more souls must lose everything they love? A melodious melody starts to rise as the lights softly fade, exciting the air. As the pastor moves to the front, the great assembly falls still. His voice commands respect and pays quiet strength. The Lord is scheduled to work wonders in this meeting tonight. Those who are sick will receive healing. The sightless will see. The weak will get strength and walk, and lo, the people burst forth in joyful praise. Hope moves in the air. Drawn to this hallowed gathering, souls who have traveled from far-off countries, some even across oceans, have gathered here tonight. They have seen the preacher on film, watching times when he contacts people and instantly produces miraculous healing. Tears flow freely as she caresses her child, and a mother holds him close in his wheelchair. Driven by a terminal sickness, a man raises his hands in respectful devotion, sure he is in his heavenly moment. The great assembly then starts. One by one, people enter the stage's illumination. The pastor softly lays their hands on their foreheads, and they drop to the ground right away as though under the influence of a strong, invisible presence. Some quiver, some cry, and then, by a wonderful turn, they rise, rebuilt. The mob bursts in joyous festivity. One feels the heavenly hand of the Almighty working here. However, is it accurate? People like Benny Hinn, Peter Popoff, and Todd White have announced for many years their capacity to do remarkable healings, banishing disease, restoring vision, and allowing the paraplegic to walk once more. People from all over the world attend their meetings, captivated by the astounding power of the Almighty. However, the questions reveal a different story than previously believed. Journalists and former insiders have exposed some preachers who use clever tactics. Devices whisper secrets of the audience in the shadows. Meticulous measures sort the crowd to guarantee just the healthiest stay. Among them, talented artists create a tapestry of hope and amazement by spinning stories of amazing recoveries. Think about Peter Popoff, a well-known proponent of 1980s faith healing. Persuading the audience he was getting heavenly revelations straight from the sky. He would declare the names of people, expose their diseases, and discuss their personal tribulations. His skill set captivated many. Seeking some comfort, many opened their wallets in their longing for restoration. Then, the startling reality became clear. In a story of mystery, Popoff discovered his wife whispering directions from a deftly hidden earpiece. According to a startling narrative, staff members would gather data from the crowd before the service, and then forward these revelations to Popoff via a radio transmitter. Oh, the magnificent deeds, a dishonest plan, carefully constructed. Popoff rose again, demonstrating resilience in the face of adversity, even after her exposure. Why would one want this? The heart craves faith in times of tremendous need. Then there is Benny Hinn, a well-known person with an outstanding worldwide healing ministry. Many come for his crusades. Each soul longs for a divine encounter and searches the Almighty for a miraculous touch. However, as the reporters delved deeper, they unearthed a disturbing reality. The public routinely excluded those who were most severely sick and disabled. Wheelchair-bound or dying people were gently turned away, as if their stories weren't meant to be shared. Those who made it to the stage were often people weighed down by invisible challenges like back pain or hearing loss, afflictions more difficult to verify. Many who claimed to have healed left the conference full of faith, believing their diseases had disappeared, only to subsequently learn their afflictions persisted. Some stopped their medical treatments, convinced they had been healed, and met their death. And lo, the wealth keeps pouring forth rather freely. Faith healers solicit generous donations, guaranteeing both physical and financial blessings for those who assist. Some departments collect enormous amounts of money annually and gain from their tax exemption. Anything that would encourage the tired souls to feel that their miracle is just a gift away. They provide tomes of wisdom, holy oils for restoration, and linens loaded with prayer. Some voices express worries, implying that these people, instead of being actual servants of the divine, could be expert liars profiting from people in need. Offering meaningless guarantees in return for their last coin, they target the weak, the sick, and the hopeless. For individuals with faith, however, reason has little power. I hope that you hang on with all your might in those times of hopelessness, When the finality of life looms big, and the healers have given their somber words, when every road has been taken, and the light appears faint. And that is what these healers provide for the devoted. Amidst hardships, a ray of hope shines brilliantly to guide the tired and lost toward a better future. However, one must take the cost into account. A polished black carriage approaches a distinguished gathering. A man from the shadows steps out from the shadows as the throng gathers, wearing a well-constructed suit and exuding confidence and grace. His face is smiling. His presence fascinates everyone around. However, he serves as a shepherd of souls, not a celebrity or a leader of a multinational corporation. He is not just any shepherd either. Renowned minister and servant of the Lord, he has created a great kingdom in the market, as well as in the spiritual domain. People like Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, and Creflo Dollar have evolved from being only spiritual mentors to powerful forces acknowledged all around. Celebrated personalities abound. Their names grace the covers of best-selling books. They shine at worldwide conferences, and they light the screens of talk shows. They reside in luxurious homes worth millions of dollars, grace the halls of lavish events, and mingle with the stars of Hollywood. They still declare, nevertheless, it's all for the glory of the Almighty. Take Joel Osteen, the Lakewood church pastor, the biggest megachurch in the country. Every Sunday, a wonderful gathering takes place in a vast hall, previously echoing with basketball sounds. With its capacity for 16,800 people, this large auditorium welcomes tens of thousands in person, as well as millions more from far away, who are joined in spirit and mission. He delivers a message loaded with hope, plenty, and the fortitude discovered in belief. His remarks, carefully chosen to inspire and uplift the tired heart, are like soft whispers of hope. He is always in tune, always friendly in manner. Still, Osteen's success is closely entwined with his activities in the business world. It is not only based on his lectures. His works, full of inspirational ideas and unforgettable language, find readers in the millions. His oratory enthralls listeners and generates millions of ideas. His name is a lighthouse, signifying paradise, plenty, and victory. Still, some voices challenge. Is this really the good news? Then there is Creflo Dollar, a clergyman whose name alone seems to capture his lessons, emphasizing that a combination of faith and kindness opens the path to success. He tells his followers, the divine wants abundance. The devoted members of his church have kindly donated millions over the years to support his 2 private aircraft, a stately house valued in millions, and a collection of luxury cars. When he asked his supporters to buy him a $65 million Gulfstream jet, many wondered, is this a question of divine purpose or selfish riches? These ministers are smart business people, masters of promotion, not just shepherds of their flocks. They are also astute entrepreneurs. While maintaining the front of being servants of the Lord, they build their personal kingdoms using modern branding techniques. Everywhere, from the music business to Hollywood, their influence is evident. Many leaders of sizable churches foster relationships with well-known celebrities, sports stars, and successful business moguls. Prominent people like Kanye West, Oprah Winfrey, and Tyler Perry grace the events or provide their support to these spiritual leaders quite often. For their followers, these pastors represent the possibility that results from committed work mixed with love. They wonder, why should the devout live in want? What could a pastor not be thriving for? Still, to those who doubt, this raises disturbing questions. Why do his messengers live in palatial mansions if the Savior followed a simple path? If wealth is considered a sign of divine favor, why then do we find so many devout followers suffering? Are these shepherds following their own earthly gains, or are they ministering to the flock of the Lord? One cannot help but consider the disturbing fact of how income and reputation define the very core of their offices. Regarding contemporary ministry, it appears that many well-known pastors avoid the strong subjects of sin, confession, and the call to sacrifice. Rather, they stress the path of self-betterment, the search for personal successes, and the hunt for financial blessings, narratives that attract individuals in, inspire charity, and help one to acquire their writings. For in the last chapter, the promise of hope strikes a profound resonance rather than the conflicts that attract the audience. Consequently, the question remains, are these people really guiding souls toward the divine, or rather toward their own coffers? A woman is staring closely at the television in a small living room, where a preacher offers words of wisdom and inspiration. His voice has enormous force, and his words spill with hope. The Lord wants to bless you profoundly. He wants to freely give his benefits. Still, one has to be willing to leap of faith, share with a joyful heart, and see how the heavens show their benefits upon you. She looks at the heap of past due bills on her desk. She is having trouble paying her rent. Her car payment is, quite rightly, behind its due date. Still, the words of the preacher cause her to react profoundly in her soul. What if comprehension depends on this key? What if this is the long-sought moment of insight she has been waiting for? She draws her credit card with hands that quiver. Oh Lord, I believe in you. She goes with friends by her side. Many devoted people give large amounts to televangelists, megachurches, and ministries, guaranteeing them plenty of financial benefits in return every year. They give their presence with deep love, believing that their faith will produce blessings. Still, many of them continue to struggle, while the ministers they inspire find themselves in rising riches. And lo, the most remarkable disclosure is this: their faith is unflinching. Why would this be happening? Cognitive dissonance, the inner conflict we go through when our ideas contradict the reality before us, is the cause of this phenomenon. People have a difficult choice when they realize their guaranteed financial blessings are not showing up. Once upon a time, in a world brimming with knowledge and wonder, a story awaited dissemination. This narrative would weave its way through the hearts of people, illuminating the path of faith and knowledge. Every chapter reveals to them like a priceless scroll, and acknowledging the truth would mean facing the reality they left behind for naught. 2. Firmly believing that their breakthrough is only around the horizon, hang fast to their faith. They must give more, pray more, and cultivate a deeper level of trust. The second road seems easier to many souls. The opposite road causes a lot of heart suffering, and thus it is, even in the face of scandals, investigations, and indisputable evidence of manipulation, these preachers find a way to grow and thrive. Their supporters stick to their side with relentless allegiance. Among the faithful are those who stick to their trust and refuse to recognize the facts of the case when a shepherd of the flock is discovered to have wandered into the shadow of financial dishonesty. When a preacher is found to be dishonest, many proclaim, the adversary is striking at the heart of God's messenger. Even with broken promises, the giving attitude among individuals never fades. Why do we find this? For them, having given their time and money, retreat is unimaginable. They say to their hearts, a blessing is on its way. I must hold steadfast to my belief. They hang on to hope. See how prosperity preachers and celebrity pastors maintain their power. They present a way of being, not only a message. When you embrace their wisdom and cling to their lessons, they weave you into a larger tapestry of purpose. They choose you for a purpose you are unaware of, quite preferred. I have been selected to embark on an amazing trip, and to challenge such a belief when one has constructed their life around it feels impossible. Still, the fissures are beginning to show up. Those who previously remained silent are now more vocal, sharing tales of financial crises, shattered dreams, and betrayal of trust. In the story as it is developing, disclosures of lavish spending, dishonest behavior, and a network of fraud have emerged. Once energetic houses of worship, some congregations today find themselves in crisis as the members consider the actual location of their donations. And lo, another soul will rise to replace everyone that leaves. And so the path opens out once more. Drawn by the same guarantees of plenty and success, more believers show up. Still pouring in are the gifts. Still sharing their messages are the ministers. And thus the question remains, how many souls have to go through the depths of loss before the freeing truth shows up? A deep introspection came over me as I viewed the film and considered the approaches of televangelists and megachurches. When one considers the lessons of faith against the extravagant lifestyles of some preachers, one finds the great disparity that results. It is a moving reminder of the fundamental principles maintained by many religious traditions, which praise selflessness, compassion, and humility, as well as charity. In these thoughts, I consider the moral aspects of the prosperity gospel, a theory holding that faith can open the path to material plenty. Aligning this with the conviction that true spirituality should transcend worldly worries and concentrate on the real needs of those in suffering, instead of extending a cycle of wealth for a small number of individuals, is definitely difficult. The need to look at the roots of our faith is among the most illuminating teachings from this film. One must be able to separate the actual core of spiritual insight from those ideas meant to control belief for personal benefit. The prosperity gospel reminds us to carefully assess the manner in which our resources and faith are focused, and acts as a call to watchfulness and discernment. This film invites us to stop and consider our values and beliefs, thereby guiding a closer examination of what really counts. Do we support models that fit our own sincere ideas about the core of spirituality and the search for justice? Dear friends, I welcome you to travel farther into these ideas, perhaps by exploring the lessons of the prosperity gospel, participating in conversations on the moral consequences of faith and riches, or considering our own roles inside these systems. In the end, it goes beyond simple conviction. It's about living that belief by acts, motivated by compassion and honesty. Let us aim to follow a road of purpose, challenging all that does not fit our great awareness of the core of mankind and the divine.